do not refer to ourselves as settlers. The people who refer to us as settlers are the people who are trying to denigrate what we are doing. We look at ourselves as Israelis who live in a part of the country called Judea and Samaria. What is going on when people call us settlers? First of all, they're referring to Jews who live in a part of Israel that is referred to as the West Bank. Now, the West Bank is an area, literally, if you look at a map, it's the center of Israel. And it refers to an area that was illegally occupied by Jordan between 1948, when Israel became a state, and 1967. It was occupied by Jordan because Jordan illegally and with absolutely no justification attacked Israel, literally on the day Israel became a state. In order, and joining as it did with its other Arab allies at the time, whose declared intention was to prevent Israel from coming into existence. And thank God they were not successful at that with that goal, but they were successful in occupying a part of biblical Israel, in fact, the central part, which also included the old city of Jerusalem at the time. Now, as much as we would have said then, and we did say then it's not fair, and, this area includes Hebron and Shechem and Bethel and so many places that anyone who is familiar with the Bible will recognize right away as being very critical to biblical Israel. But Israel would never have started a war in order to regain those areas. But what happened was in 1967, again, we were attacked on all sides. And as a result, when Jordan attacked us from this area, we immediately countered that, and in an amazing 6 days, liberated all of Judea and Samaria, the so-called West Bank. But we refer to it as Judea and Samaria because those are the original biblical and historical names for this area. And unfortunately, the international community does not recognize Israel's right to this area, even though, and I'm not going to bore audiences with going through all of this, but trust me, historically, biblically, legally, okay, all of these reasons justify Israel's claim to Judea and Samaria. So that's where I live, okay? So in an attempt to delegitimize Israel's claim to the so-called West Bank, or as we call it, Judea and Samaria, they have labeled the communities that we have built here settlements, because that's the same word that is used by, or was used by, colonial empires when they would go in. For example, when the British was occupying, colonizing India, when they had an enclave that was only for the British and they wouldn't let any Indians live there, they called that a British settlement. So they have taken that word and applied it to us to imply we are a colonial power that is illegally settling a land that is not ours. Now, for us, it's very interesting, though, because in Hebrew, there's a word that we do use, which also means settle, but in a different way. In other words, we say we are coming to settle the land as in the meaning of develop the land, to take possession of the land, to cultivate the land, to build homes and live in the land. But it has, in Hebrew, has absolutely no colonial overtones. And so when you're talking about the truth, very often just the very use of certain words can create impressions that are really very distorting and false. Okay, we are not an illegal occupier of a foreign land. We have come home to live and develop our own land. And I would just add one more thing. There's very often this accusation against Israel that we have come in and we want nothing more than to throw out all of the Arabs who are living here. And that is certainly not the case. We wish that our Arab neighbors would accept our presence here and want to live in peace with us. Today, that's more difficult than ever because given what happened on October 7th, first of all, the Palestinian Authority has not yet condemned it as a horrific terrorist attack, but surveys shown that something like 80% of the Arabs living in this area. In other words, my neighbors, only a few hundred meters from my house, think that what Hamas did on October 7th was fine, was great. They
Yeah.
laud it. And so how are we going to live together like this? I don't know.